Hello cousins, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Big Mama Cooks and I have an Instagram page where I post recipes all the time at Big Mama Cooks _. Today's recipe is none other than Asopao. Yes ma'am, Asopao. What is Asopao? Asopao is basically Dominican gumbo, a soupy rice with almost any protein you can think of. Asopao I'm making today is with longaniza, Dominican sausage, and chuletas, pork chops. I'm using what I had on hand. Let's get right to it. I'm going to start off by cutting my longaniza into 1-inch pieces and adding them into a hot pan on medium-high heat with no oil. It's going to cook in its own oil. And I'm doing this just to brown the longaniza because it's going to be added into the rest of the meat later on. So it's going to cook through, but I want it to brown. Once my longaniza has browned on all sides, I am going to drain the pan of the oil and set it aside because I'm going to add it in later on. Next, I'm going to work on my washed and cleaned pork chops. I have a video up on my channel on washing and cleaning your meats. I am going to be using pork chops with bone, so bone and pork chops, but I'm going to be cutting most of the meat off of the bone, and I'm going to be adding those bones into the broth because what gives broth taste? The bones of the meat. Then I'm going to go ahead and cut my pork chops into small pieces or small squares, small cubes. I'd like to note that you can add any kind of protein into your asopao. Anything you have on hand, you can use. So now we're going to go into seasoning. All of the ingredients are going to be listed in the bottom bar. So I'm adding in some aceitunas. I have it in some celery, red bell pepper, green bell pepper, red onion. I'm adding in 2 tablespoons, heaping tablespoons of sofrito and a couple of seasoning packets. I always like to note that I like to use the seasoning packets from the Accent brand. Why this brand? Because it gives great flavor and they're not so salty. They also give the perfect tint of color to the food. Not too orangey, not too yellow. So I added in 2 orange seasoning packets and I'm going in with 2 yellow seasoning packets and I'm going to mix everything really well together. This is almost identical to locrio. It's basically locrio with a lot more water. So a large pot on medium-high heat, I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of cooking oil and 2 chicken bouillon cubes. I also like to note that I use the chicken bouillon cubes from the Maggie brand that have the chicken with the black outline in the front because these are the chicken bouillon cubes with the traditional Dominican flavors and seasoning. I'm going to add in the 2 chicken bouillon cubes to the hot oil and move it around until it completely dissolves and browns the chicken bouillon cubes. Make sure not to burn it. Then I'm going to add in the full bowl of the pork chops and mix everything in together. Then I'm going to add in the reserved longaniza that we had on the side, mix everything really well together, and cover the pot for 10 minutes on medium-high heat. Make sure you set a timer. At the end of those 10 minutes, we are going to come back. And at this point, there's going to be a lot of moisture in our pot because the meats have sweated out. This is perfect. Move everything around, and then we're going to go in and add in our 1 cup, yes, 1 cup of washed and cleaned rice. Add in your rice, mix everything together, make sure that the rice is fully coated in all of the sazon and it takes on all of the wonderful color. Make sure there are no white spots. Now we are going to cover our rice with water. 4 cups of water. We're going to add in 4 cups of water. So I first started with 2 cups and then I came back and added another 2 cups and mixed everything really well together. Then we're going to cover our pot and lower our flame to low. Remember to lower your flame to low and cover our pot for 30 minutes. At the end of those 30 minutes when we come back, the rice has absorbed most of the liquid. This is perfectly fine. At this point, we're going to mix everything together and add more water. Asopao is soupy rice. So we're going to come back in and I'm going to add in 3 cups of water. At this point, I've added in a total of 7 cups of water. I took the opportunity to taste my broth and I realized I was a little under salt. So I took an extra chicken bouillon cube and just squished it over the top and mixed it really well together and covered it for another 5 minutes on low heat just so that all the flavors can marry. At the end of these 5 minutes, my asopao has now been cooking for a total of 45 minutes and it is perfect. This is the exact thickness that my family loves. If you like your asopao a little more soupy, you can always add an extra cup or 2 of water and mix it really well. Thank you for starting Soup Saturdays with me, cousins. See you again next time.